What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Rich20Something podcast. We are here today with my friend Jason Carter. He's a friend. He is a student. He's a rock star. I feel bad because I had a meeting with Jason a few months ago, and I was just so burnt out that I had to miss it, and I felt really bad. And I was like, okay, what would be the best way for me to like show that I really mean it? What would be the best way for me to show that I care about him and I want him to do well? And I'm like, you know what? Let's bring him on the podcast because we need people who are doing great things. So here we are. What's up, Jason?
Hey, what's up? What's
Yeah,
up,
man.
Daniel? What's up, everyone?
Everyone is doing well, hopefully. Okay, so listen, I'm really happy to have you here because I think one of the things that is kind of lacking from a lot of podcasts, or I guess just interviews in general, is you have a lot of philosophy, like, well, this is the best idea. You should do this. You should do that. But then you don't really have a lot of people who are actually out there like hustling. You have
Right.
a lot of theory, or you have a lot of people who have already gotten pretty successful, and then they're talking about back in the day how they did something, you know. But you don't have a
Exactly.
lot of people who are like actually in there doing it right now. And that's why I thought you were a great person to bring on because you're actually doing it right now. You've kind of built yourself up. Are you in North Carolina?
Yes, North Carolina.
So you built yourself up, and you started off freelancing, and now you're trying to figure out how you can transition from freelancing to more passive stuff. So I want to talk about your journey. I want to talk about who you are. So really kind of your elevator pitch. Who are you, and how did you get started as an entrepreneur?
So, so I'm Jason. Um, I went the traditional route. Went in terms of like I went to school, um, undergraduate, and then got a job that sucked. So I thought I'd go back to school, um, with a PhD in computer science, and again went the traditional route. Got a job, um, and my job doesn't necessarily suck, but it's not necessarily what I see myself doing. Um, and so I always knew, like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what steps to take. What should I do? And a friend found Daniel online and said, "Hey, check out this course." So that's kind of how I got started.
Well, hold on. You have a PhD in computer science?
Yes,
So, okay, this just goes to show that it's not really about being successful. Generally speaking, really isn't about intelligence.
correct. Yes.
To me, honestly, and this is coming from a layman's perspective, a PhD in computer science is probably one of the harder doctorates you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, besides like math or physics or stuff like that, yeah,
Well, I
I
mean,
would say in the
it's
sciences, yeah,
yeah, you're using the same parts of your brain. It's just a different discipline.
correct. Yep.
Man, okay, so that's really okay. So that's super interesting. So I guess my question is, having that level of aptitude at a skill set, and this isn't accusatory. This is a genuine fascination and a question. How was it not obvious what to do to make money with your skill set? Like you'd think you'd be so knowledgeable in your field that it would be very easy for you to figure out how to transition from what you knew to making money with that. Why was it so difficult?
Because I think, well, mostly what I was taught was like, from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, and I'm gonna say soft skills, and not to demean them because they're the most important thing. But like building relationships with people, understanding um, issues that people may have, actually not being fearful to reach out to people and talk to people.
Yeah.
Um, that was my big thing. Like I was really like I can build apps all day long. I'm like really good at that. But in terms of like reaching out to someone, at least before I took freelance domination, I wouldn't even send an email to anyone. I was like, they may not respond. I might get on their nerves. So that I didn't really have confidence in myself for doing that.
Actually, that's a really good point, and we could talk about this offline later. But do you want to build the Rich 20 app?
Sure.
We should talk about that seriously.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to talk business on the phone, but okay. So this is a really an interesting point because a lot of people listening, a lot of people who are going to see this, look, I like to think that I attract smart readers, but there isn't really a correlation between knowing what to do and knowing how to do it. So how did you start? How did you kind of break out of your shell and then use some of the material in freelance domination to kind of like start talking to people, start branching out, and start making the connections you need to make?
It was I forget the week, but it was one of those weeks where you talked about research and competition.
Hmm.
It may have been the first week, and reaching out to your potential customers. And I mean, you basically said, create a list of 10. I literally said, I'm going to follow what he says exactly. He says it works. I believe in him. I believe, with seeing other students and so on. So I said, I'm just going to do it. I mean, and at that point, after like going through your whole email sequence and listening to what you had to say, I said, just do it. It can't hurt. Do it and see what happens. Um, and so after I reached out to a couple of people, pretty much I used like the same format that you said, and I got some responses, and I'm like, wow, okay, this isn't that bad. I mean, not everyone's going to respond to you, but
Hmm.
I actually got a really good response rate. So
That's crazy.
um,
What
it
what
was
what do you
helpful.
what do you think was the fear that was holding you back from getting going? Like what was the internal track playing in your mind, and how did that internal track change? I think Tony Robbins used to call it like mental tapes, the things that play in your head.
Hmm.
What was the kind of the repetitive thing that was playing in your head that you were able to overcome once you started talking to people and really kind of understanding how to approach potential clients?
So I think one was the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Um, the fear of somebody saying, "Screw you. Who are you?"
Yeah, I
Um,
hate you. I don't even know you, but I hate you.
Right. Why are you emailing me? So that
Yeah.
was the first thing. The way I got over that was just saying, um, in life, I basically compared this to what I've been through before, right? So like I had to apply to graduate school, and I
Hmm.
said, well, I know I'm going to get rejected from some, so I will just apply to instead of applying to two, I'll apply to like 10.
Yeah.
So I kind of applied that same logic to this. Instead of emailing one person, let's email 10 people, and hopefully we get like 2 or 3 responses.
That's
So.
really that's really an interesting point, right? Because I feel like we're conditioned to accept rejection in some areas of our life, but not in others. So, for instance, many of us who are listening are in a relationship, or we're married, or we have been married or in relationships at some point in time, and you know that not everyone who you're interested in is going to like you. Um, so as you grow up and as you kind of mature into an adult, you don't want to get rejected, but you kind of expect it, and you get used to it a little bit. Or maybe even at like as a kid playing sports, like you'll get rejected for that, and those are things that society expects us to get rejected from, and we even have movies and TV shows all about those types of rejections, right? Um, but then when it comes to business, we're like, oh no, 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 I don't want anybody to tell me that I can't do this, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, so it's interesting that you were able to overcome that just by saying, you know what, I'm going to treat this just like I did graduate school. I know that not every graduate school is going to want me, so instead of applying to one or two, I'm just going to apply to 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then what happened after you started emailing people? Like how did you progress the relationship from I'm just starting off to I'm finally getting clients? How did that look?
Can you ask that again? Because you kind of went in and out. How
Oh
did
yeah.
I do what?
So how did you progress the relationship from approaching clients and just basically cold emailing them, which is something we're going to talk about later? But how did you progress the relationship from cold emailing them to actually getting clients?
So essentially, the first email was just about, um, you know, them, right? It had nothing to do with me. So I would just ask them questions like, "What's going on in your business? How are you doing? Are you happy with this? Do you have any pain points?" And what I found is that people who are really serious about their business and who really want to improve themselves are going to um, respond to you, and they're going to carry the conversation more than you really don't have to do much.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of those people. With luck, I guess I don't know if you call it luck or not, but I got a bunch of people who just wanted to. They wanted to do business. I said, and so it's essentially just talking to them about their needs, and then telling them, I do this, and being honest, because they would say, well, do you have a portfolio? And at the time, everything I had was in school, so no, I
Yeah.
didn't have a portfolio. So I was like, no, I don't. Um, and then so it's a matter of building trust. So one of the things I did, which again was one of your techniques, was I'll do this for free,
Mm-hmm.
just to show you I can do it, and then we can talk about compensation after that, and that has worked so well.
I know it's well, okay, but isn't it kind of like an obvious? Isn't it kind of obvious though? Don't you? It would seem obvious to most people, but it's not.
It it's obvious now that I know about it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not obvious. Like back then, like for me, it wasn't obvious. In fact, at one point, I was working with someone else, and I mean, we both thought together that, man, we don't want to give anything away for free. That
Hmm.
doesn't make sense because we know we can do it. But in the same token, I never looked at it from like if I'm buying something, I want to have trust, and I want to
Yeah,
know,
man.
okay, this person can get it done. So yeah, it's obvious now, but back then it wasn't so obvious.
Dude, I mean, like way smarter people than us have figured this out. That's why they have free samples at Sam's Club every weekend, you know. Um, and they don't even have Sam's Club in California, but I still miss those. Like I would walk up and down the aisles. Have you
So
ever?
you're kind of going in and out again.
Oh,
Something happened in the voice,
let me
just
walk.
kind of
How about here? Is this better?
a little bit, yeah.
How
Mm.
about? Well, don't worry. We'll edit this, by the way, so there won't be a bunch of ums and ahs. We'll edit it.
Okay,
How about what about here?
yeah, that's a lot
I'm
better.
trying to find my sweet spot. But I mean, it's the same thing. There's a lot of really smart people, people smarter than us, who have figured this out, right? So you go to Sam's Club on the weekend, and they have every aisle at the front of the aisle has a free sample, right?
Hmm.
And then they have, they have a free sample, like I don't know, maybe it's like a mini corn dog or whatever. And then you try the thing, and then they have the box of the corn dogs right next to the sample, and you're like, okay, these are pretty good. Put it in the basket. It's
Right,
the
definitely bad.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
the same. You get a little bit of the taste, and then you want more of it. And I think there's this misnomer that if you give something away for free, that you're devaluing yourself. But I was
Right.
talking to some freelance domination students today because we had a mastermind, and we were talking about the same concept. And one of the things I brought up is that you do free work, but it's very targeted free work. It's like, I'm going to do this, but I'm not giving you freebies for life. What I'm saying is, after this, we're going to do some paid work together, or you're going to refer me to other people. But this is an entryway.
Right.
By the way, just curious, most people have problems figuring out who they should contact in order to pitch. How did you figure out which people you're going to approach?
So I took the approach of pick a bunch of. So a lot of people say, choose your passion,
Mm-hmm.
choose people who you want to work with, which is true. I mean, you do want to choose people you want to work with, but in the same token, it's kind of a business too, right? So you
Right.
can't just choose everyone. So for me, it was more about I did have a connection. So this is a personal story. I'll make it really quick.
No, no, go.
Um, so I was close to having periodontal disease. This was probably about 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my dentist did like a deep clean. They got rid of the periodontal disease, and like I've never had a cavity, right? So I was anal about having a cavity, not necessarily anal about doing what I was supposed to do with my teeth.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so they pretty much helped. Um, they got rid of. I don't have periodontal disease, right? Like I was in the pre stage, and like now I'm not even close. So at that point, I said, "Well, there's a story there. It's a true story. My dentist did help me. Um, he knows me. I know him. What if I can help him, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, "Well, maybe I can help a lot of dentists."
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then I was like, well, why stop with dentist? Why not do chiropractors? Why not,
Yeah.
why not just try and see where you go and kind of let that guide your path?
I mean,
So,
that makes a lot of sense because I think one thing you're hitting on there, I think we talk about this in week 4. I don't remember the exact week, but it's basically we just call it warm canvassing, and it's like, okay, look, there are other businesses, especially if you have a B2B service, right? So like if you're a business who
mhm,
helps other businesses, there's a lot of people out there who need your help and they don't know that you exist. And the best way to get in contact with them, if you don't really know where to look, is just think about the businesses that you already frequent. You already have this connection, right? It's not like you have like some magical in. You were just using this person to get a service before, which was he was
right,
helping you with your teeth. And and so you already have this connection, and he's more likely to listen to you because you've already helped him. You've already given him money, right? You've already given him business. So of course he's going to listen to you.
yep,
Think about this. It's the same thing that we're doing right now. You've already joined one of my courses, and I'm like, okay, I really need to, and I missed a meeting, so I'm like, I need to make up for this. How can I promote Jason, right?
right,
It's the same thing, business to business. Businesses can't thrive alone. So So basically, you just looked in your network of people who you were already working with as a regular, as a citizen. Who am I doing business with? And you decided to hit them up. And one thing I want to like mention to anyone who's listening is some of the best groups of people, the best types of businesses to approach are businesses in the professional area. So like Jason was saying, doctors, lawyers, chiropractors, dentists,
Hmm.
architects, people who have, or computer scientists, people who have professional degrees who are making a good amount of money independently, and a lot of them own businesses, but there's only like maybe one or two employees, but they're making a good amount of money, and you can reach those business owners easily because they are the decision makers, and
Right.
you don't need to worry about like going through the whole secretary thing. You don't need to worry about about getting like shuffled around, and so it's just usually a great fit.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I ran into the whole like, especially with one of the issues I had with dentists was I would have to talk to the office manager.
Yeah.
And there was like, I know for 3 weeks, it was like, I don't want to talk to her or him. Mostly it was women, but I don't want to talk to them. So, um, I mean, the way I kind of got around not talking to the office manager, and this, I don't know if this is going somewhere else, but essentially, um, I would just find dentist email addresses online, and then I would look at like the top dentists, like the people who post a lot
Yep.
about different things. And one guy I spoke with said to me, and this really helped me a lot. And this is a technique you teach as well, but at the time I didn't realize I was doing it. He said, "Why are you talking to dentists? They don't know what they want." And I said, "Okay, who should I talk to?" And he says, "Talk to dental consultants." And so I said, "What is a dental consultant?" He says, "A dental consultant basically, right? And they see all the. Some of them already have technology, like a technical department. Most of them don't.
Yep.
Um, and they're really looking for um, people to help them on that front." And I said, "Okay, cool. Where do I start?" And this guy was really nice. And he's like, "Here's a website that lists all of the top dental consultants in the email addresses."
Oh, it's
And
too
he said,
easy.
"Tell them that I sent you."
Too
I said,
easy.
"Oh, it was." And so what happened, this is really cool. So what happened was I sent out an email, and I met this guy from a particular company, and we're still talking. So nothing's like truly official, but he's like, I have X number of clients, which is over 100. And he's like, "I have this many clients. They need, this particular app, and I'm willing to pay you X amount of dollars per client per month." And I'm sitting there, and I do the math, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"He's not serious, is he?" So, so I go back to him, and I said, I don't know if we should talk about how much money
Well,
it is, but
do whatever you're comfortable with. Like I don't want you to go in your bank account and be like, oh, let me calculate. But just give us some numbers so we can just start to think about this. Like give us some
okay.
ideas.
So he has, let's say he has 100 clients. It's more than 100, but
Okay.
he has 100 clients, and he said, "I'm willing to pay you $35 a month per client for this app." I said, "Okay."
That's
So
really good.
then, yeah, so I'm like, "Okay, that's $3,500 a month." And so we get to talking, and he's like, "Or I could just pay you one lump sum." And I said, "Well, how much?" And he's like, "Well, $300,000 is too much." And I said, 300,000. I said, "Okay." And so we're talking like, maybe 100,000, 200,000. But the big thing out of this is he's like, let me fly you to Vegas so you can meet my team and we can talk and nail down the numbers. Um, so he'll be flying me out to Vegas at the end of the month, to figure out, to meet his team, to meet him face to face as well. So we can, really figure out what we want to do.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, so it's almost like winning the lottery. It's like, do you want payments for life or do you want a lump sum?
Right. Yeah. And that's what's cool is I took that same approach and I said, I'm going to like double down on this. So I started doing that with all dental consultants.
Damn.
And so I have, geez, one I'm in contract with right now. I'm trying to finish that. And then like three or four where, I'm helping them to develop a SaaS business, and we're trying to determine, okay, do they have a percentage of the business? Is it their business, and I'm just the developer and the
Mm-hmm.
maintainer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all those details are currently being worked out. But like, it was almost like a gold mine, I guess you could say, because it's like they have all of the customers, and they don't have
Yes.
software development.
I
You know.
think I'm getting a small erection right now. Um, no, because here's the thing though. Um, what you did, even you didn't even know you were doing it at the time. You knew what you were doing, but the name I call it is it's called the Marsupial Method, right?
Hmm.
And basically, it's a very simple concept. Basically, when you're trying to approach your target customer, sometimes you can't get to them, or sometimes you don't really have the relationships to get to them. So you just figure out who already has those relationships and you pitch them,
Right.
right?
And yep.
I mean, it again. It really we're talking about it now. You're breaking it down. You're already kind of in it, so it seems simple to you. But for people who are just starting off, this is like a gigantic light bulb. This is like a light bulb the size of the Statue of Liberty. It's huge, you
Right.
know.
And it blow like literally because I have other friends who are in business as well, and I'm like, forget talking to that individual. Find who that individual who has that individual as a client, because they mostly have, like, if it's photographers, or if it's, I mean, even like, you know um um lawn maintenance, right?
Yeah,
Call the property management companies. They
exactly.
and it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but it takes you from zero to wherever, however far you want to go. I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's just partnerships, man. And you know what it is? What you're doing is very very. I mean, it's obviously very intelligent, but it's very advanced too because it's just leveraging yourself. Like a lot of people think that they have to work. And let put this in context. How long have you been working on this for?
This particular, so I started freelance domination a while ago, but this particular thing, like September.
Yeah. Okay. So just to give people context, it's March when we're doing this. All this stuff applies for whenever, but just to give you some context, that was about 6, 7 months ago.
Hmm.
Um, so you went from pretty much not having these clients to having these clients to having them fly you out to Vegas, talking six-figure contracts within 6 months. And
Hmm.
these are things that most people are like, oh, this is going to take me years of experience and work. I'm going to have to grind so hard. And you are working hard, but you massively leveraged yourself.
Right. I mean, it's like, and I think you say something similar to this all the time. Yes, it's about working hard, but it's about how, why would you, why serve one client when you can serve, 1,000, for example. So that's
Exactly.
how.
Exactly. No, I mean, I totally, I'm totally with that. And so I want to kind of get like an overall picture and just talk to me a little bit about kind of how your life has changed. Like, I know you have a son.
Hmm.
I think he's your only child, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Lucky guy, man. I love being an only child. It's great. I get all the attention. Um, super
That's
cute.
him.
Don't worry. I've been stalking your Facebook. I know. All my students. I know what's going on in your lives. Trust me. I spend way too much time. Um,
That's awesome.
But like I said, I know where you live. I know that you got kids. But anyway, so talk to me about how it's changed your life, the program, but also just your own success, how it's changed your life, how it's changed your family's life. Like, just give me some context on what it's done for you.
Um, but for me, I mean, it's a new confidence, right? I feel like Superman now. I feel like I can do anything. Just from a personal aspect. From a financial aspect. Um, you know, able to buy. So I'm buying a home. I'm actually selling a home as
It's
well,
amazing.
the one I'm in. But I'm able to buy my dream home. Um, so and I'm moving back to Chapel Hill. I love Chapel Hill. I graduated from there. Always wanted to live there. Um, since I lived there before, so I'm able to actually move back there, which is great. And so just in being able to do those things without thinking, um, am I going to run out of money? Am I going
Yep.
to And for me, it's like, what happens if I get sick? Right? There's still money coming in.
Exactly.
Um, that helps me do that. So I am working a full time job while I do this, but it's like so much. Um, it's I don't know. It heads me to the point where I'm like, um, this is so great, and we have so much more freedom than I used to have.
You're doing
So
it, man. You're doing this. You're able to. You're talking about six-figure contracts, and this is on the side.
right, yep.
I will be asking you for an app and a loan. Um, and so last question.
Okay.
And I want not last question for the interview, but just last question, kind of in this context.
Mhm.
What would you say to someone who's thinking about FLD, freelance domination, and they're not really sure, and they kind of need some advice from someone who's been through it? What would you say to someone who's on the fence?
Just do it. I mean, if you don't like it, you get your money back. That
Hmm.
was a big thing for me. I mean, I actually contacted you. I don't know if you remember, but I sent you an email and I said, I don't know. And then you sent me a video response
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yep,
Um,
yep. I
um,
remember.
Literally just do it. I mean, um, the techniques, the community, the FLD community, the Rich20 Something Facebook community, all of those groups. I mean, if you have questions, somehow you're still heavily involved. I don't know how you do that.
I mean,
Um,
like I said, I'm a human, so like we have had means of like Jason, I got to reschedule, but like I do my absolute best.
yeah, so you're still heavily involved. So I say do it. I mean, I've seen many different types of freelance courses, um, and I would say the difference between I haven't taken them, but the difference between them and this is I would say the community, the feel of it, and feel meaning like um, you say, for example, do research on your clients. This is how you do it. And then you go do that and you get stuck and you can go to the community and say, okay, I'm doing research on my clients. I got one email response back. I sent out 30. Here's my email. What am I doing wrong?
Yep,
And you have like 10 replies within, an hour or two.
yep,
So,
yep. I love
um,
it, man.
yeah, I mean, for me, and then the relationships too. Like a lot of the people that I know now, I didn't know, but I know them now. Like I met a lot of them, and I talk to them outside of the group, like outside of the Facebook groups, right? We talk to each other through Facebook and so on and so forth, trying to help each other, build each other up. So I mean, that to me are those are the biggest things for me.
Man, I love it. I love it. So I want to know more about what you're, because I mean, you were like, I mean, I think it's safe to say you're a hustler. I mean, you have multiple things going on right now. So like, you have your full time job, you're working, you're developing this app company that's crushing it, and now you want to move more into like online and some more. And I'm using my air quotation fingers here, passive income, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you? We talked about this before the call, but and I'm super interested. And I'm not going to steal your idea, but if I didn't like you, I would. It's a
Okay.
really good idea. What are you working on right now to kind of like supplement even this extra income? You're working on something online. You're working on some new ideas based on some research you've been doing. Talk to us about those.
Yeah, so I'm working on helping people send better cold emails. And the reason that I'm working on this is because cold email has helped get me to where I am now.
Hell yeah.
Um, and, you know, um, and I sucked at the beginning. I followed a template, which was good, but then it was like, okay, I need to change. I can't follow the template now because I'm asking for something different.
Yeah.
So, I had to kind of go through that process of not getting responses back, um, and just sending one email. And so now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, um, I've like for example, last night I sent 10 cold emails to people, and I woke up this morning with 10 responses.
What?
No lie,
What? No,
no
you
lie.
did.
I can show them to you.
What?
And,
That's the best track record I ever heard. You are you are like a sensei. You're a master.
well, the key with that was I did like a lot of targeted research. And most of the time, these people have written some information or something. So I'll actually read it. And then, in the subject line, I'll say something like, I read your blog post on blah. I have a strange question.
Oh, that's so good. Now you're becoming a copywriter. It's so good. Oh, this is exactly what I did. So I want to keep on your story, but
No, no, go ahead.
5 second side note. This is what I did to get into Huffington Post with Ariana Huffington. I realized that she's Greek. I lived in Greece for a while, so I speak it pretty well. And I put my subject line in Greek. She obviously immediately clicked that.
Oh,
You know,
wow. Yeah.
stuff like that. Wow. So you did research on people first before you emailed them.
Yes. That is like key.
So where how did you go about doing the research? Like, I mean, you don't have to give away every secret you've ever had, but like, just give us a breakdown.
So essentially, so one of the things I looked at was talking about cold email. One of the keys is follow up. So I wanted to see, and following up. Let's say you email 100 people, following up with 100 people is really hard. So I
Yeah.
wanted to see, are there any tools that do that? So I literally searched for cold email automatic follow up, and I got a list of people who've written about these tools, and so I would just go read about them. This didn't take long. I mean, it was like 2 minutes per, just per person. I sent an email to 10 people, so 20 minutes. Read up on them, see what their skim the blog to see what it was about,
Mm-hmm.
and then anything that was relating to, for example, sending us the automatic follow up tool. I would say so, and I give you an example. One person had tips on how to send cold emails, and then one of the tips it was you should always follow up, and these are a list of tools that help you automatically follow up. So I would say something like, "Hey, read your blog on blah, um, and it was great. It was gold, awesome stuff. I have a question though," and I would ask about the tools, and I would say, "Do you currently use them in your business?" So really quick, don't do anything. I didn't do anything
Mm-hmm.
long. Clear call to action, and then I would say thanks. And then I use software to track like if they open it or not.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, so gotta open, and got a response. Yes, I use this. Yes, I use these tools in my business. I currently use X. Um, I even had one person actually look me up on LinkedIn and say something like, "So you're an IT engineer. That's my daytime job, and also I'm a adjunct professor as well." But so she said, "You're the adjunct professor. Why are you sending an email about code? Why are you sending me an email about cold emails? I'm just curious." And so from there, it kind of like, I said, well, to answer your question, this is why. And so, like, I'm still talking to her now, just understanding more about her and what she does and why she does it. So yeah, I mean, it all goes back to relationship building, and for me, it's remembering there is something that I want from this person, but don't ask. I don't. She doesn't. This person does not know me. She or he, whoever it was, and so whatever you ask, make sure that they can do that thing quickly,
Yep.
whether it's a yes or no, and you know, don't focus on myself. And don't try to, the. I was actually writing this stuff down earlier because I was like, what are the things that I see people do a lot, you know? And definitely don't try to sell them anything the
Mm-hmm.
first time you send them
Mm-hmm.
an email. So that's my, that's some of the tips.
And
I
it also shows that you're doing this correctly, because if you are emailing people and they're then looking you up and then following up with you with a question, that means that you are intriguing them enough to where they want to know more.
right,
So,
yeah. She was very like she was more interested in my background than the question I asked. So
so then, okay, so I think that so am I correct in saying that now you're developing something to help people send better cold emails and get more responses?
yes, that's what I'm currently working on.
So, I mean, look, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there somewhere people can learn more about this? I mean, I want people to be able to get this help, because I'm not going to make a course on this because you're doing it now. So I want to, someone has to
Right.
do this.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm currently so what's funny is I had I I'm was currently buying a domain name for this. I don't have a domain name, but it's going to be Send Better Email. That's pretty much the what the domain name is going to be.
Well,
So
don't worry. We're gonna make sure you get a domain name, and then when guys, for everyone listening to this, the domain name is going to be in the show notes, in the YouTube description, and everywhere else where there are links about this show, because I want you guys to make sure that you check this out. Since, I mean, look, I don't have to like hype him up or praise him anymore. He just told you exactly what he did. So if you want those same results, emailing people, 10 out of 10 people, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, I have a column in Time magazine, and people don't respond to me a lot of times. So,
but
you
that
know.
was my average rate is not 100%. I mean, that's
Yeah,
one of those things where I was like,
it's a good
wow.
it's a good day. I mean, it's kind of like a
Thanks.
Kobe moment.
Yeah, right, right.
It's like, not Kobe's not always Kobe, but when he's on, he's on.
Exactly. Yep, that is true.
That's amazing, man. And speaking of that, you're going back to Chapel Hill. Speaking of Swish, nothing but net, right?
Yeah, hopefully, they've been very inconsistent this year, so I'm hoping that they find some consistency and pull everything together.
I mean, it's all about like it's about like support regardless, right? I mean, there are like millions of Cleveland Brown fans who will be let down for the
Oh yeah,
rest of their lives.
the rest
Like
of the lives.
they will be let down for the rest of their lives. I mean, even when they get like really good quarterbacks, like what's his name, Johnny, right?
Uh,
I don't know what happened. Like there are just some teams. Why do you think there are some teams where people just don't like players just go to die?
I think it's the organization. I think it starts from the top.
It's the mentality.
Yeah, and I think it's the culture of the owner in for football. I think the owners set the culture of the organization, and that's everything.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
think when you go to the Lions, you're like, okay, this is a losing team. We lose. You
Yep.
know, um,
And
you can have Barry Sanders on your team, and you'd be like, okay, we're still gonna lose.
exactly. And there's some teams where they just, pull parts in and out, like the Patriots, who I dislike.
Yeah.
You can plug in me
Oh yeah.
there, and we would still win. They would still win.
You can
I mean,
plug in Jason at quarterback, and you guys would win.
exactly. So I mean, I think it's an organizational thing.
That's really interesting how, and I think it's true on teams in general, but I think for some reason football, especially in the U.S.,
Hmm.
American football, there's this thing where like one player can't really carry the team. Um, in basketball, I feel like it's a little bit easier to carry because it's small. There's less people,
Right.
and kind of in basketball, every player kind of has almost the same position. Like obviously they all have roles, but basically get the ball in the net, right?
Hmm.
But like in
Hmm.
football, everyone's really specialized. So if you have a great running back, unless he has a great line and quarterback and coach, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it depends on too many things. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
but no, man, this is incredible. So, I mean, one last call to action for the audience. Anywhere they can go to check out your work, and we can always add these to the show notes as well. But if you wanted to direct them anywhere right now, please. I like you're one of my favorite people and students, and I just want them to make sure they know what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. My website is carterdigitalsolutions.com. So that's my website and web app development website.
Amazing, brother. And we will talk as soon as I press stop here about the app. We should work on that now because lots of cool things coming for Rich 20 as well.
Cool. Yeah,
All
definitely.
right, man. Jason, thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.